Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday, May 3rd, 8 o'clock here in Augusta. We are taking a look outside here out the window. Looks pretty good. Blue skies, a little chilly this morning, but should be a nice, beautiful day for us here in the CSRA. We're taking a look at some of our top headlines, some of the big stories going on around Augusta and beyond. We start with some breaking news we told you about this morning on the air. If you saw our morning show, one person died after a fatal crash on the Bobby Jones Expressway going eastbound up by Sandbar Ferry Road near the Laney Walker exit. We know a person was hit by a car out there. No identity yet has been released, but traffic was closed there for a little while. All the eastbound lanes were blocked off. Everything has since reopened. Traffic is flowing smoothly again. That happened just before 3:30 this morning. Okay, moving into some more big stories now. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says the owner of a CrossFit gym has been charged with molesting a teenage girl. This is Scott Page. He was arrested Monday after his wife turned him in. The wife told deputies she came home and found a used pregnancy test on their kitchen table. That's when she confronted Page and told him to leave, along with the other woman who turned out to be a 15-year-old. Page is currently being held at the Columbia County Jail and charged with child molestation. In Waynesboro, police are looking for this woman. Authorities say Emily Johnson is accused of an aggravated assault and battery. She's about 5'1" with black hair, brown eyes. If you see her, you are asked to call the Waynesboro Police Department. People who live in Columbia County in a neighborhood over there are upset with a compromise by the county over a rezoning last night. They wanted to keep an area around a radio station from expanding even more businesses and in turn attracting more traffic. Our Nick Veland tells us what some neighbors in Grimaud Place had to say about Columbia County Commission's decision.
Columbia County further restricted the uses of a property in the Grimaud Place neighborhood, leaving the property to stay the same but updating the code. This looked to be a compromise, but the neighbors are still unhappy. How do you feel kind of walking out today?
We're still disappointed.
It was a compromise that felt like a loss for neighbors. Originally, the owner of a radio network wanted to rezone the property so he could eventually allow up to 21 different types of businesses to set up shop. Commissioners said no. The county rezoned the property for specific uses. Mark Baranowski is limited to the 3 businesses his family currently runs. He's only allowed to have 4 non-family member employees, and no additional buildings can be added to the property. Neighbors still think that Baranowski could have been restricted more.
They said they boxed him in, but how big is the box? That's what I want to know. How big is the box?
Right now, neighbors are frustrated his property isn't up to code, and cars come from his property through their neighborhood.
There really was not a perfect path to go down in tonight's decision, but really tried to tighten it up and to do the best that we could to find a compromise.
The county says that he doesn't have any business licenses for his radio network, real estate company, or investment company. Something else the county says that will have to change. Baranowski says that he does have licenses through the city of Grovetown. After limiting the uses, if the applicant Mark Baranowski wants to do anything outside of the conditions that were given to him tonight, he would have to redo this process all over again. And the neighbors tell me that if Baranowski tries to expand in the future, that they would come right back here to try and stop it. In Columbia County, Nick Veland on your side.
We've tried to get comments from Baranowski, but at last week's commission meeting, he told us for a 3rd time he would not be commenting, so not going to be hearing from him. Moving into Richmond County now, our largest school district is still struggling with finding teachers. Richmond County still has about 300 vacancies for next year. The need is greatest for special ed, math, and science. Our Hallie Turner says the school system is taking a new approach. Richmond County held a Georgia Future Educators Signing Day as a way to have aspiring educators return to the same schools where they were taught.
It's hard to know exactly what career you're going to pursue before you even graduate high school. But today, more than 10 Richmond County seniors took a pledge to tackle a nationwide teacher shortage right here at home.
I love that environment. I love the feeling of being able to teach and to be able to figure out new things for myself and being able to help other people figure out those things. And I want to be a role model for kids that I've seen.
It's a passion Howard Smith hopes to turn into a career.
I've seen the impact my teachers had on me and other students, and being able to give back to, give back give that back to somebody else is something that I really want to be able to do.
And his passion couldn't come at a better time as the country and Richmond County continue to battle a historic teacher shortage.
We're struggling trying to find great, awesome, amazing teachers. So we figured, why not grow our own? So that's why we have the Teaching as a Profession pathway as well as early childhood education pathway.
Howard, along with 17 other students, have been taking classes catered to a future in teaching. And today, they put ink to paper with a pledge to return to this community.
I want to be a teacher because I'll be able to give that to kids, because you don't always know everything that's going on in the kids' life or going on at home, but sometimes just being in that healthy space and having someone to talk to, having someone to teach you new things.
The school district is planting seeds, not sure of what they'll harvest, but they're hopeful encouraging kids early on to be the change will bring seniors like Howard back from Savannah State to teach when they graduate.
We're working so hard with our HR department, and we figured a partnership with our HR department will help us to understand what the need is in order to replenish those teachers, and then see if we can along the way create some type of incentives to get them back.
In Augusta, Hallie Turner on your side.
And this is the second year they've done this signing day. Last year they had 16 students sign. This year they had 18, and they're hoping to make it an annual thing. Former Augusta Commissioner Sammy Sias will no longer have a street that bears his name. Yesterday, commissioners voted 9-1 to rename Sammy Sias Way Jamestown Lane, effective immediately. Sias was accused by a former employee of sexual misconduct, pocketing $10,000 of SPLOST funds, and mistreating children at the Jamestown Community Center. Meanwhile, Augusta City Commissioners approving citywide audits for all departments. Yesterday's decision comes after the IRS hit the city with $2 million in fines for not properly filing paperwork related to the Affordable Care Act. Tensions rose when the question came up if this will be a yearly event or every 4 years.
And Commissioner Garrett is out of order, sir. So I know you wouldn't know that, but he's out of order. If you want to, you're out of order.
Commissioner from the 5th.
Nobody said anything to you. You out of order.
Commissioner from the 5th.
I asked if it would be a year or 4 years from now. And I don't know where this dude's coming from.
Despite the high tensions, the motion was approved 8-1. Jordan Johnson voted no. Bobby Williams abstained. After they select a local third-party accounting firm, they will conduct an audit for every city department at least once every 4 years. They'll present their findings quarterly. The Richmond County Commission also awarding $5,000 to Augusta Pride to cover the event's security costs. This comes after the Commission gave a Juneteenth celebration and St. Patrick's Day parade money to cover their security costs as well. The Commission also admitting doing so has opened a Pandora's box for event fundraising grants. A separate Juneteenth event also got $5,000 for their security fees. Telehealth services aren't going away anytime soon. Most programs started during the pandemic as a way to give service to patients from the comfort of their own home. While trying to relieve the burden of hospitals dealing with capacity issues, now the Augusta University and the Medical College of Georgia want to expand those services to rural communities. Alyssa Lyons looks at how they'll use $1 million to help.
Emergencies can happen in the blink of an eye. And in rural Georgia, specialized care is harder to get than gas for a tractor. With new federal funding, the Medical College of Georgia is trying to change that.
Okay, great.
Telehealth care is the care of the future.
It's just the evolutionary process of giving care.
Bring the future present, you have to bring areas still in the past to scratch.
We have a lot of trouble attracting physicians, especially specialists, to the rural hospitals.
With $1 million in federal funding, MCG will bring it straight to you, bedside.
What we do is that if we have a patient that's in need of the ER, we connect with the ER specialists here at AU, and they're able to help guide our providers on what services we can do in order to handle that patient's emergencies.
It's not a fix-all because the technology simply isn't there yet.
The telemedicine is between the hospital and the hospital. It will evolve over time as broadband becomes more available from the hospital to the home.
It has its limitations, definitely. You can't listen to the heart or the lungs or things like that, but there are a lot of things you can do.
The funds will go towards equipment and education.
It's a pretty big part of the medical curriculum in space. We'll have real patients and we visit them every like once every Thursday in a month on telehealth.
All with you in mind.
You don't always have to be face-to-face in order to get the same level of care.
In Augusta, Alyssa Lyons on your side.
MCG is already using telehealth treatment in Brunswick, Albany, and Savannah. It allows them to not only advise, but act quickly if necessary. Well, about 50 million Americans suffer with hearing loss, and chances are you know somebody, you have a loved one who is one of those 50 million. Well, wouldn't it be great if they just had subtitles as part of the conversations? They could stay engaged and in tune. Well, the future is here. And yesterday, our Laura Warren shows us some veterans at the VA were the first to test a new solution.
So when you put these on, you'll be able to see the words that I'm saying almost like they're like subtitled.
For the first time in a long time, James Rush didn't have to strain to be part of the conversation.
Good, I'd have to get a little used to it, but
it takes a little while.
this is outstanding.
And when he tried on the second pair that uses both lenses to display the subtitles,
I like these better.
It's directing the sound from you, displaying right 3 feet in front of you so that I can look at you, have a conversation, and just get subtitles of what you're saying.
Alex Wessner founded Xander, the company behind these glasses. The idea came not out of his hearing problem, but his vision problem.
About 9 years ago, I was diagnosed with vision macular degeneration, and I was researching how do we use sound to substitute for vision loss.
He found plenty of resources for his problem, but very few for using vision to help someone with hearing loss. So he got to work, and today the prototype is nearly ready.
Makes me feel inclusive.
Which his wife says is a game changer.
It makes it hard for us to go to restaurants because he can't hear because of all the background noises.
Even if I come in late, a couple of words late, of course, I can scroll back by looking up and still catch on and be able to communicate.
A tech solution.
I feel like I'm part of the group now.
For a problem so many face.
The Augusta VA is the first to test this version of the glasses with veterans, and as you saw there, the feedback was very positive. The glasses should be available to purchase this summer. Every meal matters. Yesterday, Doctors Hospital donated more than 1,300 pounds of food, all collected from the community food drive last week. It's going to Golden Harvest Food Bank, where it'll help people who need it most.
So it's really important for our community to be consuming healthy foods. It helps to improve their health outcomes, and certainly we know that healthy diet is directly tied to people's health and also helps aid in recovery if they may be struggling with different illnesses.
Across the country, 1 out of every 8 people suffers from food insecurity. Doctors Hospital says that's why it's so important to tackle this issue from a local approach. The store Tuesday morning is going out of business and will be closing its Augusta store along with 5 others in Georgia. The store will be offering 30% off the lowest ticketed prices from home decor, toys, pet supplies, and more. And if you have gift cards to the store, those will be honored until Saturday, May 13th, so next weekend. There's a new restaurant in North Augusta. Freddy's Frozen Custard just opened yesterday on East Martintown Road, and they've been seeing long lines there already. The new store offers drive-through and patio seating. We asked our new neighbors how it feels to settle in.
Y'all are very courteous here. Everyone is very courteous and very kind. And at Freddy's, we don't have customers. Everyone is a guest, and we treat everyone as a regular. So everyone's personality and everyone just shows us a good time.
Freddy's is based in Kansas with more than 460 locations across 36 states. Students from Douglas Elementary in Johnston, South Carolina showed kindness to others by collecting food and necessities for the homeless and wrapping boxes of tissue with notes inside. Students put together 25 bags that had packs of crackers, raisins, granola bars, toothbrushes, and more. Writers across America are now on strike, and the effects won't just be felt on TV, but in the local economy. Georgia's film industry brought in more than $4 billion last year, but now production has come to a halt. Our State House reporter Abby Kasouris takes a closer look at why the strike is happening and how you could see the effects.
Atlanta is the center of the film industry in our state, but Savannah, Thomasville, and Macon could feel the ripple effects from this strike.
It's a balancing act because there's a lot of people in the film industry, but you don't have much without the writing.
Tiffany Fitzhenry is a producer and a writer, but she's not one of the less than 40 writers in Georgia enrolled in the Writers Guild, currently striking across the U.S. The majority of members are L.A.-based.
In terms of stopping production, it's really going to be a matter of certain series, a lot of which are not written here, some of which do film here.
She just wrapped a film in Macon. Aaron Buzza with the Macon Film Commission says their city collects roughly $4 to $6 million every year. You can see their unique storefronts in films like 42 and Need for Speed. The money crews spend in town help keep mom and pop shops alive during the pandemic.
Well, that kept businesses afloat because they were putting money into a dry cleaner that was doing laundry service for the crew of 200 people. Maybe that dry cleaner was able to keep people on at a tough time that they wouldn't have otherwise.
The $4.4 billion industry in Georgia employs makeup artists, videographers, actors, set builders, and more. The Georgia Film Office estimates more than 800 movies, episodes, and productions were filmed in Georgia in a year-long span. Savannah alone brings in $210 million a year. Savannah Economic Development Authority President and CEO Tripp Tolson gave us this statement. It's our hope that both parties can come back to the negotiating table soon and come to an agreement. Both Savannah and Macon say they're working to appeal to film crews despite the strike. In Fayetteville, I'm Abby Kasoris.
All right, thanks for that, Abby. There are so many costs you might not think about when it comes to clinical trials. Money for hotels, gas, childcare, even lost wages for patients and their families while they're going back and forth. And it wasn't clear in Georgia law if hospitals could pay back people for these expenses, but Governor Kemp signed a bill changing that. Erin Miller knows. Her family struggled financially while her husband did a trial for pancreatic cancer 20 years ago.
And this gives people the opportunity to forget about the financial aspect and the financial worries and get the care that they need. Really, it's about hope and it's about life. And if you can't get there, you can't do it.
Miller says this gives people the chance to forget about the financial worry and get the care they need. South Carolina lawmakers are finalizing the state budget. Some legislators and advocates are urging them to make sure provision is there to help kids access healthy meals. State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
There are temporary laws in the state budget called provisos that are only in effect for as long as that budget is in effect, so typically a year. One proviso under consideration in the next state budget could expand access to school meals.
We know that children learn better when they have a full stomach, they pay attention better.
Right now, if enough students in a school or district qualify for free or reduced cost meals, then the school or district can apply with the federal government for every student to get free meals.
But we have schools, about 108 at last count, that were qualified to participate in the community eligibility program to receive the federal reimbursements, but they weren't participating.
This temporary law would require those schools and districts who are eligible for school-wide or district-wide free meals participate in it next school year.
One of the most effective ways to ensure that children have access to nutritious food is making sure that they have that access in the schools.
We know when children are able to grow up healthier and stronger, our economy and nation grow healthier and stronger too.
It would also ban schools from meal shaming. That's when they refuse to let students with meal debt participate in activities like field trips or give kids who qualify for free lunches a different meal than paying students.
By really addressing these avenues of making certain that all the kids are receiving the same meals, they're not brought out is labeled as being different.
Another bill that's been introduced here at the State House would permanently provide free school meals for every student in South Carolina public schools. That bill won't pass this year, but its sponsor says she'll keep pushing for it next year. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
All right, thanks for that, Mary. Legislation to make South Carolina lakes, rivers, and waters safer could soon be on Governor McMaster's desk. The House passed a boating safety bill that had already passed the state Senate. It would require anyone born after July of 2007 to take a boater education course to operate most boats and other things like jet skis by themselves, which is currently not a requirement for most people. This includes boat rentals as well. Loved ones of boat crash victims have been fighting for years to strengthen South Carolina's boater safety law, which is currently one of the weakest in the Southeast.
I was crying up there. A lot of emotions are going through our bodies right now. My dad would be so proud. My mom, everything that she's lost, everything that's happened, it's not in vain. Other lives are going to be saved now.
There are some differences between the versions of this bill passed in the House and the Senate, including who would be exempt from this requirement, so lawmakers need to work out a compromise to send it to the governor. A new report revealing an alarming increase in South Carolina infant deaths. Data released by DHEC suggests that unsafe sleeping conditions are a leading cause of those deaths. Unsafe products marked to help infants sleep are a major concern. Just last year, millions of products targeted towards children were recalled after multiple infants suffocated to death. Catherine Martin lost her 3-year-old daughter to suffocation while she was at daycare. Now Martin helps advocate for other parents to know the risks.
I can't parent anybody else's children, but I can advocate for mine, and I can try and educate parents as best as possible, because we don't want parents to go through what we did on February 21st.
DHEC says it's working with the South Carolina Title V program and other state health organizations to get families the education and safe products they need to keep infants safe. If you've driven in Augusta, you may have already seen it, a billboard in downtown dedicated to those who died of fentanyl overdoses. Yesterday, parents from across South Carolina converged at the State House, urging lawmakers to crack down on fentanyl before the session ends next week. They were surrounded by photos and mementos from their loved ones killed by the drug. These parents say they're angry and frustrated because lawmakers aren't moving fast enough.
We constantly have to be here and beg you to make laws happen in South Carolina to save lives. Our kids are already gone. We're trying to save the next mom from the heartache. We're trying to save the next child.
DHEC data says fentanyl deaths from 2020 to 2021 increased more than 35% in South Carolina. More than 1,500 high school seniors gathered in the South Carolina State Capitol for the College and Career Decision Day rally. The event began with a march down Main Street and ended with a celebration event on the House steps. It's all to recognize and celebrate students who have decided to pursue college, the military, begin a training program, or enter the workforce.
Whether you are going into the military, workforce, pursuing a 2- or 4-year college degree, or a higher education certificate, I have no doubt in my mind that you will all go on to achieve great things.
And there's our own Mikkel Hannah Harding. He was one of the MCs at the event.
Well, thank you so much to all of you guys for your time.
We're continuing to learn more about the tragic death of a bride on her wedding night. Last Friday night, Samantha Miller and Eric Hutchinson vowed to spend the rest of their lives together on Folly Beach. Hours later, they were struck by a car while on a golf cart riding back to where they were staying. According to Folly Beach Public Safety, 25-year-old Jamie Komorowski was under the influence when she hit the golf cart. Samantha Miller's family says Komorowski was going 65 miles an hour when it happened. The White House and congressional leaders are set to meet in 1 week to talk about raising the debt limit. It'll be their first face-to-face talks on the issue since February 1st. It comes with just about 4 weeks to go until the nation defaults on its debt. Skylar Henry has more from Capitol Hill.
President Biden has invited the Democrat and Republican leaders in the House and Senate to the White House next week to discuss raising the debt limit.
Folks, we've got a lot to do.
There is a lot of work to do and precious little time to get it done. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned that by June 1st, the government will run out of money for the U.S. to pay its bills.
This is about not sending out Social Security checks, not sending out payroll for our soldiers and our servicemen and women, not sending out checks for people who work for the government. This is running out of all government money, not just spending on the debt.
Everyone agrees that defaulting on debt would be disastrous.
If debt ceiling doesn't get raised, all bets are off. We will have a recession, and it won't be a mild one.
But that's where the agreement ends.
We pay our bills, and we should do so without reckless hostage taking from some of the mega Republicans in Congress.
We will not pass a debt ceiling that just raises it without doing something about our debt.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has agreed to meet with President Biden, but he continues to push the plan House Republicans passed last week.
The bill is passed.
The bill passed with a vote along party lines. It would include steep spending cuts, most of which target President Biden's priorities. Democrats say it's dead on arrival in the Senate.
With steep, severe, devastating cuts to things like law enforcement, veterans, families, teachers, kids, even cancer research.
Meanwhile, the markets dropped as soon as they opened, with Wall Street investors getting nervous. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Also in Washington, the Federal Reserve Board is meeting to look at raising interest rates again. The Fed's expected to hike rates 1/4 percentage point to try to slow down the economy and bring down inflation. The risk is if the economy slows down too much and we enter a recession. A conservative former federal judge joined the calls for Congress to pass ethical standards for Supreme Court justices. The statement from Judge Michael Luttig came as the Senate committee debated ethics at the nation's highest court following new revelations about luxury travel and real estate deals. Skyler Henry has more.
This meeting of the Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order.
In a hearing Tuesday, Democratic senators called on Congress to impose a code of ethics on Supreme Court justices.
Ethics cannot simply be left to the discretion of the nation's highest court. The court should have a code of conduct with clear and enforceable rules.
A recent investigation by ProPublica found conservative Justice Clarence Thomas accepted more than 20 luxury trips from Republican megadonor Harlan Crow without reporting them on financial disclosure forms. Crow also purchased 3 properties belonging to Thomas and his family. Additional media reports, including Politico, found other conservative justices failed to disclose real estate deals and questionably large income from a spouse.
There's a very selective outrage here.
Republicans slammed the hearing, outlining possible ethics breaches by liberal justices whose travel was paid for by various universities.
It is about trying to delegitimize a conservative court.
But in a statement, retired federal judge J. Michael Luttig said if the Supreme Court does not subject itself to the highest possible professional and ethical standards, then Congress has the power under the Constitution to prescribe those standards. Chief Justice John Roberts declined an invitation to testify. In a letter, he cited a need to preserve the separation of powers among the 3 branches of government. The Senate is now considering 3 bills that would impose ethics on the court. They're not likely to pass in a divided Congress. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Last week, all 9 justices signed a letter insisting that existing rules around gifts, travel, and other financial disclosures are sufficient. Authorities in Oklahoma say 2 missing teenage girls are likely among the 7 people found dead at a rural property. The story broke out about an hour south of Tulsa on Monday. Michael George has the latest.
We've searched the property and we've located 7 bodies.
Oklahoma law enforcement found the bodies of 2 missing teen girls in Henrietta Monday, along with a convicted sex offender, his wife, and her children.
No other family should go through what we're going through right now. And I don't even know what we're supposed to do next.
The father of 16-year-old Brittany Brewer confirmed his daughter is among the dead.
She always played with her little sister, and I don't know how I'm going to tell her because she's like, Brittany's lost, Brittany's missing. And I got to tell a 4-year-old that she's gone.
On Monday, Oklahoma Highway Patrol reported Brewer was endangered and missing, along with her friend, 14-year-old Ivy Webster. They were believed to be traveling with 39-year-old Jesse McFadden. Brewer's father told Tulsa station KOTV that his daughter was friends with McFadden's children, had spent the weekend with the McFadden family, and was supposed to come home Sunday night. Records from the state's Department of Corrections show that McFadden was convicted on first-degree rape charges in November of 2003 and released from prison in October 2020. He was slated to stand trial Monday on charges of soliciting sexual conduct with a minor and possession of child pornography. Michael George, CBS News.
Moving on to that catastrophic dust storm on a highway in Illinois moving on to the catastrophe in Illinois, one day after a blinding dust storm led to crashes that killed 6 people. The highway was ordered to be closed again. Jesse Kirsch has the details.
This is like
30, 40 cars. Dude, that's more. Look at this car sideways.
After that catastrophic dust storm engulfed this stretch of an Illinois highway, tonight authorities warning drivers that traveling the same area will again be dangerous and possibly life-threatening. The National Weather Service alert coming as police ask the public for help identifying 2 of the 6 people killed in Monday's fiery crash.
Due to the severity of the crash and the fire, we are required to activate our crime scene services and traffic construction unit.
Investigators have few details to go on, but authorities have named one victim, 88-year-old Shirley Harper. Police say they've tentatively identified the other 3 victims killed in the pileup involving more than 70 vehicles along Interstate 55, a major artery between Chicago and St. Louis.
It was like driving into a whiteout.
Dave McLean says he survived the apocalyptic scenes, helping rescue a woman trapped between 2 semis.
Wheels of one semi against one door and wheels of the other semi against the other door.
The National Weather Service says the blinding dust came from freshly tilled and planted farm fields, propelled by winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour to create a dust storm.
This is just a terrible series of converging circumstances, very unusual, and a terrible loss of life.
Police reporting at least 37 injuries, some life-threatening, with at least one 2-year-old child among those hurt. One area hospital system says many people have been discharged as dozens recover from that blinding storm.
Yesterday morning, we showed you this video of a tornado flipping a car on a highway in Palm Beach, Florida. You see the car just go up in the air there in the distance, and now we're hearing from the driver who survived, describing those moments.
When the car started to flip, like I do remember kind of like a flash of seeing the airbag go off and the glass break. But then, we were back upright and I was just sitting there with my hands on the wheel, and it seemed to happen basically instantaneously.
He says his dog was also in the car, but thankfully both were unharmed. Kind of hard to believe when you see just how crazy that video is. The National Weather Service confirms an EF2 tornado with 130 mile-per-hour winds hit that area. Well, all right, let's move on to some a little bit more fun news here. Forget about a limo. 2 high schoolers out of Washington State took a tank to prom. Jeffrey Lindblom shows us how they got a hold of the tank and how it goes beyond just making an entrance.
Woke up and I was just ready to go.
We've been going back and forth about how nervous, but still just super hyped up that we are about it.
Sherman Bynum fell in love with tanks. Described as a bit of a random kid, he got the idea to ride to his junior prom in one. Soon after, he stumbled across Steve Greenberg, who just so happens to have one in Portland, and said it would cost about $1,000.
I'm Sherman.
And I'm Sam.
And I have a question for you. Are you a student at Campus High School? And if so, have you ever just wanted to see a live tank?
He and his best friend Sam Tatro did a TikTok, made a GoFundMe. Fast forward, here they are with Steve, who shares Sherman's passion.
I've been collecting this since high school, and I'm now 65. If it wasn't for tanks and the guys that drove them and worked on them and fought with them during World War II, we wouldn't be standing here talking right now.
Sherman says compared to a typical prom ride, their tires are much better.
We don't like normal very much.
He says he wouldn't dare be caught in something like a sports car or limo. Instead, a tank, armed with friends by his side and one proud mom.
I never thought he'd pull it off, and here we are.
He's even got an escort from Portland's own Unipiper. Bagpipes, Star Wars, and flames. On his 40th birthday, he's happy to be involved too.
Making sure that Portland stays the place where people can be who they are.
So we've got Unipiper, friends, and family. Sherman's got it all, including a date.
He asked me with a sign that said I'd be thankful to take you to prom with me, and it was perfect.
Sherman says this started off as one big old joke.
If you see a GoFundMe for a tank, share it.
But wound up proving a point he holds near and dear.
Sherman, are you happy?
Heck yeah. Live your life to the fullest. Do whatever you want. That's what it's all about.
That's pretty cool, man. That's something they're going to remember for a long time, and that's going to be a big talking point there. Now he's got to up the ante for graduation. Got to ride in and style, give him a hot air balloon or something. Okay, moving on here. There's a critical need for organ donors, and the latest numbers show that 17 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant. Arthur Mondale shares with us the story of a South Carolina woman working to get herself off the waiting list.
At one point, I had to decide to take control of my life and my medical condition.
We're in the kitchen with Katrina Mattison, a 40-something who lost over 130 pounds after working out 5 days a week and switching to a plant-based diet.
Had its share of ups and downs.
She's a type 1 diabetic who's been fighting to survive since age 15.
So I was sticking my fingers 8 times a day and doing 4 to 5 shots, insulin shots a day.
A teenager with a high risk for kidney failure, heart disease, and stroke.
I kind of have what they call a double whammy because I am a type 1 diabetic and I also suffer from hypertension. I've been hypertensive since 17.
She worked closely with her doctors, but at age 28, the young professional got another devastating blow.
I was in stage 5 end-stage renal disease.
Her kidneys were close to failing. And even after getting a new kidney in 2015, the spiral didn't stop.
My body rejected that organ.
She's still working closely with her doctors, doing in-home dialysis, and using her social media to advocate and find donors for young adults and youth with backstories like hers.
With this horrible disease, we do not fight alone. We have to band together and be an advocate and a voice for each other at all times.
Back home with Katrina, she's still patiently waiting for her own candidate to come forward with a kidney and a pancreas.
Everyone deserves that chance to live and receive that organ donation that will possibly save their lives.
Every 10 minutes, a person's added to the transplant waiting list, and kidneys remain the most in-demand organ. So if you've been waiting for a sign to get out there and put your name on the donor list, consider this that. A mother in Indianapolis is meeting healthcare workers who delivered her baby. She missed that chance 2 years ago because she was in a coma fighting COVID. Scott Swan shows us the reunion.
It's a reunion 2 years in the making. Former patients meeting their medical heroes. Tammy Cunningham does not remember these people, but they helped save her life.
COVID took such a toll on all of us. But when it put an otherwise healthy pregnant mom and a baby in danger, it was truly heartbreaking for us.
In May of 2021, Tammy was 7 months pregnant, diagnosed with COVID, and having a lot of trouble breathing. Her husband also had COVID at the time.
I was stuck at home taking care of the other kids. I had to make decisions over the phone. I couldn't be there. So it was just a really hard time for all of us.
His wife was put on life support.
I was put in a coma on ECMO, and when I woke up from my coma, I was no longer pregnant.
The IU team delivered her baby boy. It would be 1 month, though, before Tammy could finally meet her son.
And the nurse put him in my arms, and that was the best feeling ever. I just started crying and telling him how beautiful he was.
Callum will turn 2 years old in May. He's had chronic lung disease, but Mom tells us the family's first boy has a spunky personality.
It's way different than having a girl.
For the staff at IU Health,
it's really exciting to see you doing so well.
And a grateful family, Friday's reunion was beautiful.
I'm very grateful and happy, and I have been waiting almost 2 years to meet everybody. He's our miracle.
Awesome, awesome story there. Okay, moving on now to watching your wallet. Car prices are still high. A new study from NerdWallet finds 26% of vehicle owners say their car expenses make up a significant portion of their monthly budgets. Whether you're looking to buy or just cut costs, Rachel DePompa went to the experts.
Used vehicle prices are still 30% higher than before the pandemic, according to the recent JP Morgan research. A new study from NerdWallet looking at car buying found that 1 in 4 people who own a car actually say it's so expensive it makes it hard for them to pay their other bills each month. Kim Palmer, a personal finance expert with NerdWallet, says if you are looking to buy right now, there are steps you can take to lower the cost.
When you go shopping for a car, you really want to think about how the overall cost each month will fit into your budget. In general, you want to spend less than 50% of your take-home pay on your needs. And so that includes your housing, your food. So how will the car cost fit into that?
She says maybe it means you want to buy an older model car or a used car. The second big thing to think about is financing. Interest rates have been rising, and so auto loans are more expensive. Palmer says before you go into the dealership, you want to shop around for your financing options and get as low an interest rate as possible. That will save you significantly each month on your car costs.
You want to think about your car insurance because auto insurance is another huge factor in car ownership. And a lot of Americans just let their car insurance auto renew. Don't bother to shop around. You want to be sure that when your car insurance comes out for renewal, you take some time to comparison shop.
Gas prices also play a role in making vehicle ownership so expensive. Palmer says even within one zip code, gas prices vary so much. She says use apps like Waze or Gas Buddy to guarantee you are paying the lowest price. You can also try the app Upside, which helps you earn money back when you fill up. And one last thing to cut costs, don't forget to keep up on your vehicle's routine maintenance. The upkeep can actually save you money in the long run. With this Watch in Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And we can all relate to that. Gas prices changing from county to county. If you go, across the river on one side or the other, you'll see some drastically different prices. Mother's Day is less than 2 weeks away now, and if you haven't even started thinking about a gift, you might not want to wait much longer, especially if you're looking for something mom wouldn't expect. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker has rounded up a few tech gift ideas for mom that will totally surprise her.
Moms never show disappointment at Mother's Day gifts, even the bad ones. Oh, I love it, she says, and then you find it unwrapped in a closet a year from now. But these tech gadget gift ideas, well, she'll put to good use.
If mom likes fixing up the house, she'll love one of these Nix sensors. It's for painting or touching up the walls. The Nix sensor accurately reads colors regardless of any light hitting the wall. Place the sensor on the wall and Nix shows the exact color you need to match. Cooking has never been easier than using a sous vide gadget. The Innova Sous Vide Precision Cooker is the best kitchen gadget I've ever purchased. Sous vide cooks to a precise temperature in an hour or so. Even thick cuts of steaks are cooked thoroughly while she gets out of the kitchen to do something more fun. Then just throw it in a pan or a grill to sear it. If mom hits the gym, a set of Bluetooth earbuds will be music to her ears. Apple AirPods are an easy choice, but I recommend the Bose Quiet Comfort noise-canceling earbuds. The sound is better than just about any set of earbuds I've ever tried, and maybe more importantly, the battery lasts weeks before needing to recharge. My favorite gym gadget is the Tap-Lock fingerprint lock. No need for a key or combination. She just touches the lock and it opens. And for her protection, the Birdie is a small gadget that fits on a key ring. When she's out and ever feels unsafe, she just pulls the tab. A loud alarm scares away any threats and flashes a bright light to call for help.
Even the moms and grandmas who say they don't like tech gadgets and they probably can't use them will find that these gadgets are easy to set up and easy to use. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
So there you go. If you were the oldest daughter in your family and you don't have the mother's gift idea for all the kids yet, there you go. I know that's how it works in my family. My sister does all the ideas, and then I just hit her up with the money later. Excitement is building for the 76th Annual Tony Awards. The nominations announced yesterday. Astrid Martinez is on Broadway with a look at which shows made the cut.
Broadway stars Lea Michele and Miles Frost unveiled this year's Tony nominees on CBS Mornings.
The nominees for Best Musical are Anne Juliet, Kimberly Akimbo, New York, New York, Shucked, and Some Like It Hot.
Some Like It Hot, a musical adaptation of the classic movie comedy, leads this year's pack with 13 nominations.
The nominees for Best Play are Ain't No Mo,
between Riverside and Crazy. Cost of living. Fat Ham and Leopoldstadt.
Emmy and Oscar winner Jessica Chastain could add a Tony to her collection of awards. She's up for Best Actress in a Play for her role in A Doll's House. She faces off against Killing Eve star Jodie Comer, Jessica Hecht, and Audra McDonald, who received her 10th nomination.
Speak to me.
Other big names include Josh Groban and Ben Platt, who were both nominated for Best Actor in a Musical. Ariana DeBose returns as this year's host. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
And you can watch the 76th Annual Tony Awards Sunday night, June 11th at 8 o'clock on CBS. Moving on to sports now, the Aquinas girls soccer team are state champions after a perfect season, and the North Augusta Lady Jackets look to defend their title as their playoff race, I should say, starts. Dan Booth has the highlights.
We have perfection. The Aquinas girls soccer team has completed the perfect season. Not only did Aquinas win the state championship and finish their season 14-0, they found a way to completely flip the script after winning 0 games last year. It might not have been all sunshine and rainbows for the Lady Irish, but going through that hardship can help create special moments like this. After being tied at the end of regulation at 2, Aquinas won a double overtime thriller against Towns County by scoring not 1, not 2, but 3 goals in those overtime periods. The Lady Irish finished their perfect season by outscoring their opponents by more than 80 goals and only gave up 8 goals the entire season. Congrats to Aquinas for capping off a season for the ages. In the first round of the playoffs for the softball in South Carolina, the North Augusta Lady Jackets were at Riverview Park, taken on easily. The combination of a dominant pitching performance by junior Leanne Gilbert and an offensive explosion led by senior Rue Howell, North Augusta ending this game after 5 with a final score of 12-2. Howell will remember this night for a really long time because she had 2 home runs, including a grand slam in this game. Here's what the slugger had to say about her stellar performance at the plate.
First at bat after the first pitch, I had in my mind I was seeing her pretty good. I had a feeling I was going to go guard on the first one. The second one, I had to calm down a little bit, but after the second one, I knew I was good to go. That one felt great.
North Augusta's next playoff game will be back on their home field at Riverview Park on Thursday. That's it for sports. Have a great day, everybody.
Love the Pit Vipers en route, making a fashion statement there. Congrats to them. Good luck the rest of the way. Also, good luck to Greenbrier girls soccer going for a state title as well as an undefeated season. And then Greenbrier baseball and Harlem baseball, both in the Elite 8 in their respective classifications. So good luck to all those teams still in it. There are more too, but those are just the ones that immediately came to mind. Okay, well, the Augusta Stars are swimming, splashing, and diving their way to the Summer Olympics. The organization helps train people with special needs to compete in games like the Special Olympics. Our Will Volk caught up with one athlete getting ready to dive into first place.
With these guys, they're giving them their all.
Vernon Broom is training his swimmers.
It's like with anybody, you try to find their strengths and you find their weaknesses. And what we do is we just try to build on whatever their strength is.
The Augusta Stars meet here once every week. They've given everything they've got for the last 3 months getting ready to compete.
Basically, we're having a good old-fashioned time, you know?
John Lambert is one of the Stars. He loves his team.
We kind of hang out as a family. We hang out, we do things together and do fun things.
Lambert has been jumping into the pool most of his life. Now he's grateful to go swimming with friends.
We're just here just to enjoy our life and young lives.
And that's what Broom wants them to do.
If somebody has a bad day today, it doesn't matter. As long as they come out here, have fun, and enjoy themselves.
No matter how the competition goes, Broom is proud of them and all the work they've done.
Whether they win a gold, silver, bronze, I'm happy because I know they did their best.
In Augusta, Will Volk on your side.
Just realized I put the wrong lower third up there at the end, but that's okay. The Special Olympics in Georgia start May 19th in Atlanta. So the Augusta Stars also compete in volleyball and tennis. So good luck to all those competing. Also, John is actually in my bowling league. So see him every Wednesday. We'll see him tonight actually over at the lanes at Bolero. Last week of the regular season. Anyway, that's a story for tomorrow. You can find out about these stories and much more over on our website, WRDW.com. If you're watching this on the website, be sure to download our WRDW streaming app. You can do that on your Roku, your Fire Stick, your Apple TV, whatever your favorite streaming device may be. Just search WRDW on there and give it a download. It is free, and it gives you all of our I-Team investigations, first alert forecast, live newscasts, sports coverage, Aerial Augusta. Pretty much everything that we do is up there on those apps. Also, if you want to subscribe to our new YouTube channel, let me show you how to do that real quick. Just go to youtube.com, search in WRDW News 12, and there we are. So you can just subscribe. We actually just hit 1,000 subscribers, so shout out to everyone who's subscribed to the channel. We appreciate you. We're getting a pizza party today because of you. There you go. That's my cue to leave. The morning mix is about to start in about 10 minutes here, so if you want to hop on over to the TV side of things, Natalia and Cliff have all the latest. Zane is going to be off the rest of this week and Monday, so we'll see her back here Tuesday, and I will see you back here at about 11 o'clock today. We've got a real cool interview set up. We're talking to a pastor over in Ukraine, kind of giving us a first-person perspective on the war and how they're trying to find faith through it all. So that's a really cool interview we've got coming up. Excited for that, and we'll share that one with you guys coming up at 11 o'clock, so we'll see you back here then.